Lineup, Urs is in goal. Stahl's out and D'Lo's out.
So
Nick is,
Drysdale will
yeah, we'll go 7D.
7D.
7D, yeah.
With Drysdale, how much are you kind of going in without expectations? Do you just want to see him play and get out there?
I just want him to play. Yeah, we've talked with him, given him enough information now, and we just want to let him play.
What is the information you kind of give him? Is it coverages or
Just the zone coverages. It's a change in that. We just spent 20 minutes with the whole team going over that. So it's basically him just watching that. There's going to be some hiccups, but he's a bright kid, and we'll just, as we do with all the young players when they come here, we'll just teach and go through it.
You're obviously going into this. You said you know there's going to be hiccups. He's coming into a new team. There's going to be mistakes made, but are there certain mistakes where, certain types of mistakes that he could make where you say, okay, I accept that, he's getting used to the new team, and then other mistakes where you say that's just unacceptable even right off the bat?
Yeah, well, just like anybody else, I do a lot of coaching as far as standard of play, as far as how hard you play, some of the intangible stuff. So I'm not looking to crawl all over Jamie when we get, but as we do with all our players and continue to do throughout the year, that's a big part of growing this organization is standard. And so I'm sure along the way there's going to be clips, just like with everybody, that will bring up thoughts as far as what we expect here, and build it that way. Yeah, it's a big part of what we're doing here, trying to create the standard.
You mentioned Nick Delorier takes a seat. You sat in for the Edmonton game
It's hard.
as well. I know you think very highly of him.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of where's your head at in terms of
Well, yeah, we trade for a player. We don't lose anybody off our roster. The decision I make, I just don't think any of the 6D that have played, that have been playing, Mark has been sprinkled in a little bit. I just don't think they should come out. So the forward that we decided is Nick, and it kills me to take him out because he does so much. He's such a great pro and does so much of the heavy lifting for us. So right now he's the guy. I feel the same way about Mark Stahl. Mark is different. We explained this when we signed him, how it was going to be a little bit in developing our young guys and all. And there was going to be spotty play here and there. But yeah, so we go with 7. And the forward that's out is Nick, and we're 8D now, and Mark is the defenseman. Oh, two really tough decisions for me.
with Nick, is he kind of in a position now, just with the glut of players you have, where you might more like pick your spots with him, or if you're playing against a team that has a lot of heavyweights that maybe he's more likely to come in and otherwise he might sit?
Yeah, I don't want to use Nick as a guy, go out there and fight this game, right? And then I sit you for 5 games, go out and fight that guy. I'm not going to do that with him. What's happened with Nick was a penalty killer last year. Okay, we brought in other people that kill penalties. Our penalty killing's been really good. He's lost a little bit of ice time there. Brought in more kids in our lineup, taken some ice time there. So it's put him, the evolving of the team has put him in a little bit of a jam as far as ice time. He's lost ice time throughout the year here because of that, because of Tyson and Bobby and Pales is here and Garney and all that. And so it's difficult for him. It is. And I have such a tremendous respect for him. It's hard, but I have to make these decisions. And I think he understands that. I know he's not too happy about it, and I don't expect him to be, but I still have to make the decision what I think is best for the hockey team.
With the number of games that you guys are playing in January before the bye week, is there any concern about playing 11-7, putting the strain on the forward group with only 11?
Nah. We're in shape. I think we've tried to handle the best we can as far as time off. It gives me a chance when I'm alternating a Tip or a Tyson, like that'll be left wingers there tonight, to try to help them get going more consistent, especially Tyson. just to try to get him more touches. I'm not concerned about that because I can divvy it up pretty well where it really doesn't affect a lot.
Is Drysdale, you talked a little bit about power play with him. Is there expectation to see him on maybe the second?
He'll probably be with that second group in the power play. Yeah.
So Z stays on.
Yeah. Z stays on. He's done a really good job. We don't want to screw that up.
Obviously, those are two young guys there in that role. Do you want to see them learn from each other and while they develop in that area?
Yeah. There'll be some mistakes. There'll be some corrections. There'll be conversations. I'm glad we have him now at such a young age and where we are as an organization right now to go through that. Z has kind of taken us a little bit. We knew Z was good with the puck, but we're really been taken aback a little bit how calm he's been in his vision on the power play. Watching tape of Jamie, he's played on the power play. I think Cam Fowler had a unit, and he had a unit out there in Anaheim. So we'll let him play, and we'll correct. It's 21-year-old kid. This is the time to teach.
John, as difficult as the lineup decisions are for you, you mentioned how sometimes if a guy is scratched and he watches a win, he's maybe not really involved in the celebration afterwards. Like, can that inter-competition help you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Guys wanting to be in.
It's healthy.
When they're in, they want to stay in.
Yeah, it's healthy. Just on the human side, I think the world of Nick. I know it kills him to sit out. Same thing with Mark Stahl. They're both great competitors. But the way they got to look at it, gives them a chance to get more practice time, more a little bit one-on-one with Angelo to work on their skills and their game, and just wait their turn. I don't know how else to do it with them. You're not going to have everybody happy about things when your team is growing, and so to me, it's a really good sign having to make tough decisions because you have more bodies and your team is growing. It's evolving.
You mentioned this when we talked about Mark, when Mark was being sad, earlier, I guess last month, and you said that, look, he's competitive, he wants to play, but he's such a good person. I know he's not going to, rock the boat internally or anything. I assume you view the same thing.
I don't. Oh, with Nick, no. Nick's a great pro. That's what has drawn me to him. He's miserable right now, and but he's a great pro. He will. I don't worry about that for a second.
You're facing Marty St. Louis as the other coach.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you guys have a long history. Is it always special coaching against him? It doesn't maybe amp you up a little bit?
Yeah, well, I don't know. He's a very good friend. We do a lot of talking. Him new in the league, and the past couple of years we've thrown a lot of ideas around together. When the game starts, it's not Marty, it's the Montreal Canadiens for me. So there's always competition. I think that's why we're in the business. That you always want to beat the other time. It's not the one particular person. I find it, I think as I've gotten older, I find it harder coaching against. I've never enjoyed coaching against Mike Sullivan. He's a very close friend of mine, and so I just lock into that organization that we're playing. But when you're out there, though, you don't care who's there. You want to beat them, and I'm sure Marty's one of the greatest competitors I've ever coached. I know he's just looking to jam it to us tonight, and that stuff goes by the board until after the game.
Since you do talk to him a lot, and you talk strategy, and you talk ideas, and is there ever like a thought in your mind to maybe change something up a little bit because maybe he knows too much about what you?
No. I've thought about changing things up because I've learned from him. He's got a brilliant mind and a mind that thinks out of the box. I've listened to him talk about some of his things, like we talk a little bit in the summertime, and I wouldn't even know how to teach some of the things. Like when he explains it to me, it kind of goes right over my head, and I have to ask questions. So I've learned from him. I don't think there's many secrets in the game. I just don't think there is. But how you teach and the language you use, that's always intriguing to me. And he's a very bright person, and I'm happy for him. We've had a long history together.
Did you, when you were coaching him, did you see a future NHL head coach?
Oh, he drove me crazy as a player because there were so many questions, and every shift, there was a question. He made me a better coach because you have to be on your toes with him. You can't leave anything for chance, and you have to be ready because he's analyzing all the time. I never thought he'd coach. We haven't really talked about that. I think he really got into it because he's coached his kids for a number of years, his boys, and I think he really got involved that way. And then I brought him in Columbus to help us with our power play, and I've always asked him, when are you going to jump in? And he didn't want to leave his family. He wanted to make sure the boys were good and wanted to spend some time with them, coaching them, and they're turning into some successful players. Then he's jumped. But at the time when I was coaching him, I didn't see it. But he drove me nuts with all the questions in practice and during the game. It was like one-on-one all the time. And but that's why he was such a great player. One of the greatest competitors I've ever coached.
Do players ask as many questions today, or is the athlete
Oh,
truly different?
God, no. No.
I was gonna say, I can see that happening on the bench today.
No.
Yeah.
No. There and in general, absolutely not. There are a few people out there that are very inquisitive. Athlete's different. Yeah, it's a different athlete.